Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to answer one of my subscribers' questions. The subscriber is Finally the Truth, and he said that his wife was interested to know what kind of homesteading we do. So I'll tell you. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell, leave comments, and let's get started. So we are feeding the cows right now. All day they just, they graze out here, they eat the grass and everything. And oh, everyone's following me right now. Will you do their food? Okay. They usually do this when they're out of food. We have to refill it. So I'm gonna get my cows over here because they graze on the grass, but we also feed them grain. All right, you guys, come on. It's time to eat. Vivian! I don't know where she's at. Oh, there she is. She's all the way back there. Come on, you guys. Come on. Got your sweet feed. For these two adult cows. This one's a heifer right here. She's a Jersey, which is a dairy cow. And he's a Jersey. He's a bull. And we're still trying to, okay, I keep going back and forth between like each video what we're gonna do. We're thinking of possibly selling these two and just doing beef cows. That's what our third one is back there. She's coming. She's a Angus Hereford cross, which is a beef cow. You guys, over here. Hey, Daisy. You need to put that up like two more. Hey, Daisy, over here. Come on. Hey, you guys. Over here. Over here. There you go. So, our original intention was to have these two breed so that we could get milk from her. We may still do that. Possibly. We're trying to figure out what to do with Christmas. Like, we've actually had some money come in, so we may not need to sell them, but we still might. Vivian, do you guys see her over there? They're not the smartest. It's like she doesn't know where to go. Vivian, come on, come over this way. Let's go get Vivian. So it may be that we end up selling them and then buying maybe like 3 or 4 more calves. Vivian, this way. Hey, come on. Yeah, come on, this way. We always eat on the other side of this. Come on. So, I guess we'll see what happens. I still kind of want to get milk, but I'm just kind of worried that it'll just be that much more work. Which, I mean, that's what you should expect having a homestead, right? Come on, this way. No. Vivian, over here. Hey. Hey, this way. Vivian. I might need your help, honey. Okay, go that way. No, this way. No, that way. There we go. So, yeah, it would be really nice to get milk from them, meat from her, and then any future ones that we do. And then I think that we're gonna maybe just raise some just purely to make some money, because it turns out that cattle are a pretty good investment. Like every time that we've bought a bottle calf, that means a calf that you feed with a bottle. They're not on their mom, obviously. You can usually get them somewhere between 50 to 100 bucks typically. And then they're a little bit more risky because when they're not on their mom, they're more susceptible to illness, and you have to watch out for something called scours, which is like where they are either like dehydrated or they get sick with like from pneumonia, and then they have scours, which is like baby cow diarrhea, and you have to treat it right away. You have to give them usually electrolytes to get them hydrated, and also possibly a shot as well. I'm gonna come around this way. So we actually had one die. So this calf that we had right now, we actually got her from a trade. We had an adult Holstein, which is another dairy cow, and we traded our Holstein for these two calves, but one of them died because I think it's because when it rained a couple weeks ago, she got sick. It got pneumonia, and we just didn't act quick enough. We should have given her a shot, but we waited a couple days, and it was too late. You have to act immediately with that. And then as you can see, we have a whole flock of different birds. That's also going to be changing because we're going to change up how we use this property. So basically, right now we have chickens. We also have guineas, which are these like weird brown birds, right, or these gray birds right here. We have 5 of them. We also have ducks. We have several different types of ducks. We have one goose that we got from a sister in the ward that also homesteads. She has like a ton of geese, and she gave us a goose. And then we have a female turkey. We used to have 2, but we gave one of them away. And we're probably going to try and get rid of this other one, either give it away or sell it. Because I think what we want to do, we've talked about it, what we want to do is just have chickens. And the reason why is it's really fun to have these other birds. Like guineas are really fun. They have a lot of personality, and they behave a lot differently from all the other birds. You know, same with ducks. Ducks are really fun, and they have their uniqueness, but we're not really getting a whole lot out of them. We do get duck eggs, so, and we eat the duck eggs, but it's like, I don't like particularly like them. Like, I don't like not like them, but they're nothing really special. They taste a little bit different. Some people don't like them. I like them just fine. We also eat turkey eggs. There was one time, hey, what's going on with her? Oh my gosh, she better not be sick. What? Yeah? I swear, if she's sick too, we're gonna have to do something right away. Does she have energy to stand up?
Yeah, I think she just rested. I don't think anything's wrong, but it is something to keep in mind.
So I'm gonna look at her. She hasn't been coughing or sneezing or anything like that. Her eyes,
So that's good.
her eyes are not sunken in or anything. Can you try and pick her up just really quick? Just try and get her to stand up. Yeah, okay. If she had like a hard time standing up, I'd be a lot more worried. Hopefully it's just that she's full.
Yeah.
You want to try and take the bucket to her again? Yeah, so we got our ducks over here. They take their baths in these little pools of water that we have. That one's just like an oil pan, and oh good, okay, she's eating again. Yeah, do it higher so that the other two don't.
Well, I did it higher and she didn't eat, so.
Oh. Pull it all the way in and then close it with that right there. With that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing with ducks, you get eggs from them. They're fun. I love ducks. It gives you some variety. But
we don't eat the ducks, so it's kind of pointless to have them.
I know. I'm talking about the eggs.
Yeah.
So we eat the eggs, but we don't eat the ducks. Maybe we will someday, but right now we're actually just trying to get rid of them. There's the turkey right there. She's eating right now. So for one thing, we just want to kind of cut down on our feed cost. Guineas actually get 90% of their food from just foraging and eating bugs and stuff like that, and then only 10% from feed. So, you know, they're not too like expensive to keep, but they just don't really do a whole lot for you.
I hear they're good to eat though, if you ever want to try guinea.
Yeah, and I think you can eat their eggs too. But no, I think we're just gonna get rid of them. They're fun. Guineas are really loud. Now we actually live in a small town, so we're not out in the country. But we do have we have some pretty good space between us and the neighbors. And so this is just like a 2-acre property. We were shooting more for like 5 or 10 acres. When we were looking at Kansas, we were moving from Phoenix and we came to Kansas because home prices are way better here than they are anywhere out west. Pretty much anywhere west of Kansas is just ridiculous, I think. So we were doing a VA loan, which kind of limited our options. That's why we went with this house. Like I said, we were trying to get like somewhere between 5 to 10 acres. But honey, can you get that cat out of the bag? My gosh.
Silly.
You naughty cat. But as it turns out, like 2 acres is more than enough, really. For if you're just doing like just a little family homestead, little family farm, you don't really need much more than that. I guess it just depends on what you want to do. But
Did you mention the garden?
What?
Did you mention the garden?
I will in a little bit. I'm gonna go back there and show them that area. But you know, we can run on this property probably somewhere between 3 to 5 cows. Now, once they're all adults, we'll probably have to supplement with like hay. Like there's hay right there. That's hay that we actually bought last winter. That's crabgrass, and it's like better for them. I think it's higher in protein. Whereas that bale of hay right there is just native prairie grass, and like it'll keep them alive, but it's not going to have a whole lot of nutritional value or protein. So, what?
That goose is hissing at the cat.
Yeah, that's like one reason that you might want geese, is because they're really good as far as like, you know, getting other animals to go away, to leave your flock alone. They're more aggressive. So that's why some people have them, but and also, you know, also you can get eggs from them. You get really big goose eggs. They're huge. But so what we're going to do is we're going to simplify everything. Just go all the way back down to chickens. Now that we have all this like out of our system, because we were just excited to do like everything. Oh, let's get ducks. Let's get turkeys. Let's get guineas. Let's get whatever. Try them all out. And it has been fun. We had at one time 4 turkeys, because what we wanted to do is raise them so we can eat them, and specifically have one for Thanksgiving. But after we butchered our first chickens, which wasn't that bad, but it is kind of, you know, it's work, you know, and we just kind of got lazy, and we were like, you know what, a turkey is probably gonna be just all that much harder because they're a lot bigger than chickens. And we just weren't feeling it, so we had 2 toms, which are male turkeys, and they're like they were those traditional looking turkeys that you see for Thanksgiving, like that have like the full set of like feathers, and they're brown. They're called Narragansett, or I've heard it called Narragansett, but Narragansett turkeys. They're a heritage breed. So we still have, you know, that female right there. We're going to try and get rid of her. But yeah, what we're trying to do, simplify it down just to chickens. I think that's all we need. And back here we have this, It's not really supposed to be a chicken coop, but that's what we turned it into. If you go in here, essentially the guy that lived here before, he had it set up to where like you could take this board off right here, like flip it up, and then down in there is like a chute that goes to the outside. So like you would take your cow feed, like maybe you'd have like there's like these smaller things of alfalfa that you can buy like at Tractor Supply and stuff. So maybe you would like put that down the chute, or I'm thinking that we can probably just like put grain in there and figure out a way to do that. Oh, these are our nesting boxes right here. Jenica's getting eggs right now. So anyway, you would put it down the chute, and then over on this side, you see that big board right there that's covering up the whole area. Well, we would remove that, and then the cows could just come right there and eat. So we wouldn't have to like do this whole setup that we're doing right now with these buckets. It would just be easy, and I want to be able to give the cows access to this area right here, because it's just more room for them to get in the shade and have cover as of right now, because like we have this pen right here as like a chicken run, but that's not really what it was originally intended to be, of course. So what we want to do is open this up so that all of our cattle can get in this area. They can come over here, get in the shade, and then with the chickens, we're not going to feed them like this anymore once we actually put this plan into action. This is a feeder, right? You put their either pellets or their crumble in there, and then this is a water feeder. Well, what we would do, because like that's one of the reasons that we can't have the cows over here, is because they'll just come over here and knock those over. But there is a way that you can do it where you simply measure out how much food you're going to feed your chickens each day, and then you would put it in like a pan like that right there, and then that would be how much they get for the day, right? And then because our chickens free range, they can go get bugs and all sorts of other stuff out there. So we'd probably just like in the morning put it in a pan like that, and probably have it kind of like over here in the corner or something like that. And then with the water, instead of using that, like we'd fill that up, because that's what they mostly drink out of anyway. Like this is kind of a waste of money. I mean, not necessarily, but you can just as easily just do it like that, and they can drink out of these pans. Also, by getting rid of the ducks and the geese, we're not going to have this big thing for the ducks and geese to bathe in, because you have to give them water so that they can clean themselves, clean their beaks, get stuff out of their nose. They have to have water. So then we won't have to worry about using that much water and filling that thing up, because we fill that up every day. And then another thing, you can hear the guineas and how loud they are. What are you freaking out about? It's like they think I'm going to kill them right now or something. Another thing about the guineas is that they fly a lot more than all the other birds do. And typically what they do, I don't know why they do this. I guess they just like being outside, but at nighttime, all the birds just naturally, they go in the coop all by themselves, and then you just come outside and you close the coop to keep them safe from predators at night, right? Which we actually don't really need to do in this area, because since we're kind of in town. What?
I'm going in.
Oh, you're not going to talk about the garden with me?
Naomi's waiting for me, and I don't want to carry these eggs around.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too.
Anyway, because they fly a lot more than the other ones, they at nighttime, instead of going in there like everybody else, they'll come over here right above the stock tank. This is where the cows drink their water. We have a smaller one set up over here for her, so that she can reach it, but she's actually, believe it or not, she's actually starting to be able to reach the main stock tank, so we may not need to do that much anymore. But anyway, the stupid guineas, just like what they're doing right there, they'll come and they'll roost right up here above the stock tank and then poop in there. You can see some of their poop. And so it makes it so that we have to like change this out a lot more often than what we should have to. So I tried to put up like these wires right here, but they don't quite do the trick. Like it does seem to keep them from going on these lower bars, but I don't know, just the guineas find a way. So we're just gonna get rid of them. What you doing?
I decided to stay. I want to talk about the garden.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so is there anything else over here to talk about? Yeah, so we're going to simplify this whole area and basically just have pans like that to put food and water in for the chickens. And that way the cows can just come over here, hang out, and everything will be good. So let's go in the chicken coop. I'm going to come out that other way. So we have this for the chickens to roost on at night. I have a whole playlist for homesteading videos, and so you can go back to some of those and you can see what it's like at night in here. But we have all these roosting bars right here. This is more than enough for what they need. A lot of them like to go up here on these shelves. We have these 2 nesting boxes right here that we bought at Tractor Supply. And they're pretty nice. I wouldn't say that they're necessary. Maybe if you want your chicken coop to look like really nice, you'll get these, but you know, I'm not sure if they're worth it. They're like 20 bucks a piece. So you know what we did, I wanted to experiment with the milk crates, and these actually work really well. So we just got a bunch of milk crates, and then we got zip ties to zip tie them together. You put some hay or straw or some kind of bedding in here. They like to have curtains because they like to have privacy as they're laying. We have one in here right now. Hi, how you doing? Okay, I'll leave you alone. Lay a few eggs, okay? So they like to be in the dark and have privacy while they're laying eggs, and so that's how that goes. But anyway, this was just kind of like a second workshop. Now we got this property for really cheap. Okay, this same property would have gone for probably 3 to 4 times as much if we had stayed in Arizona or tried to go to Utah or Idaho or Montana or Wyoming or Colorado. You know, just to give you a sense, well, first of all, go on Zillow and check out the Midwest. Check out Missouri, check out Kansas, Texas, whatever. Home prices are cheap here compared to out west. For example, there's a lot of people in Kansas, like when you talk about home prices, they'll be like, oh yeah, they're in a really expensive home. It's like in the hundred thousands. And coming from Phoenix and coming from Arizona, hold on, let's show them this over here really quick. Can you turn that light on?
You should come back and show them.
Oh, just really quick.
Oh.
Okay, fine.
I'm so sorry. Sorry, everybody. I'm in a hurry.
So, they're not really as used to, you know, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes. Like probably a lot of you guys are, because most of everyone watching here is probably from the western states. So my point is like, we have this house. It is on the smaller side, but it's perfect for our family, and it's a cute little house. We have this front yard right here, which the street is actually over there. Okay, so the house faces in toward the center of the property, and so that's one thing that we really enjoy. And when you're buying homes that are in the country or a small town, I would highly recommend this, because it just gives you that much more privacy. You're not like right there on the road. And then we have this big old grass driveway right here that comes over here to the two-car garage. In the back of the garage, so there's room for 2 vehicles, and then in the very back there's another workshop that's even bigger, and so that's one that we actually use for a workshop. And then we have a huge cement driveway. I guess I won't show you now, but like it's nice. It's nice. And then we have this shed right here. He was using it for just like a, you know, a typical shed.
Use it as a, what do you call them, a tack shed for his horses?
Well, that's what the lady said. I don't know if she was just like guessing that's what he was using it for. Okay. The posting agent, but okay. Whatever.
But we use it as a brooder. This is where we raise our baby chicks.
Yep. Yep. So, and it's really nice to have this big of a thing to put the chicks in, because you have to have a heating lamp, right? But if they have this large of an area, they can get as close to the lamp as they need to, or get as far away, because some chicks will die because they get too hot, or if they get too cold, obviously. So it's really nice to have like a big space like this. And then we can use it for other things too. Like we have a bunch of barn cats that are running around here, so we just kind of like keep this cracked open so that they have somewhere to get to when it's cold. And it's starting to get cold. We have our yard back here, which is a fully fenced yard, as you can see. And we were originally using this as a chicken coop, and you can see the door right there, but we haven't used that in some time because we're not using it for that anymore. But we just have this nice backyard. He has like a fenced in area for that dog house. And there's one of our barn cats. Have a big old pile of branches and stuff that I need to take my chainsaw to so we can get some firewood. Okay. And then come back here, and this is another entrance into the pasture. Oh, honey, did you do the chain on the cow gate? Okay. So what we have here is where we had our garden this year, which it kind of failed miserably, sort of. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I didn't water it enough, so everything died just about. We got a few tomato harvests, but I'm learning a lot. It's my very first time gardening, so next season we'll be able to do much better. But we want to eventually work up to this whole area being a garden. I know it sounds huge, but eventually when I get the hang of it, I'd like it to be, we'd like to grow a full year's worth of food so that we can rely on our food and not have to rely on the store to provide us our food. And
what are all the things, if everything had gone right this year, what were all the different things that we were going to plant?
Tomatoes,
which we did. We planted tomatoes, and we harvested a bunch of those.
Well, we planted tomatoes, pumpkins, corn, watermelon, and I think that's it. Everything died but one gross watermelon, and we got a bunch of tomatoes.
But we had a bunch of seeds for like a bunch of other stuff too. What were all those other things? We had green beans,
peas,
right?
Carrots, green beans, and then we were gonna do like black beans and red beans and pinto beans. We were gonna grow squash, zucchini, spinach, lettuce, which we could have done this season, but it was too late to getting it started. And then all the herbs like cilantro and basil and thyme and oregano and all the good stuff. I think that's it.
So what we did is
corn. Oh no, we already talked about corn.
Yeah. So what we did is we didn't have enough money to buy those like gardening, what are they called?
I don't know, they just the ground cover.
Yeah, it's like this kind of tarp type thing that you unroll, and you roll it out so that it keeps the weeds under control, essentially. You roll it out and then you burn little holes in it to make a hole, and then that's where you put the seed, and then the seed grows. And then if there's any sorry, there was a bee that landed on my thumb. if there's any weeds that start to pop up, they'll just be in that area where the plant actually is, if they're able to, and then you just pull them up instead of like having to worry about that whole area. Now, an alternative to that is simply to put a bunch of hay down, and that's what we did, because we ended up ordering more hay than what we needed, because it was our first time having cows and we didn't know what the winter was going to be like. So we got more than enough hay, and that extra hay, the cheaper one, the native prairie grass, we were able just to lay it down here, and it actually worked kind of well. If we had come out here, we probably could have kept the weeds down, but we didn't come out enough, and we also didn't do the hay deep enough, because
yeah, we didn't put a thick enough layer. If you're interested in that type of gardening, check out Ruth Stout, the Ruth Stout method. That's where we learned that method of growing in hay or straw.
Yeah. So for the cheapest grass, the native prairie grass, you can get a big round bale of hay for just 35 bucks. And here's part of one right here. This is what we were using. We were using the hay from this bale, and there was another one over here, but we were using the hay from this bale and then putting it over there. So we're probably going to give that another shot and try and stay more on top of it next year. Probably next month is when I'm going to order our hay, both for the cows and for our garden, and we'll try and just do this large area here.
And we gotta prepare the area in the fall, so we're gonna be doing it in November, putting all the hay down, and we'll show you a video of that once the hay's down or in the process of putting it down.
Yeah. So along with this property, so you saw that we had that small shed over there. We have the 2-car garage that also has the 2 workshops. The whole place was already fully fenced and ready for cows. And then we have this big shed slash lean-to slash barn, like I don't know what you would call this thing, but like as you can see, we have a bunch of, like, this is all material that the guy from before left over. Eventually we're probably going to go ahead and just get rid of all this, or use it or organize it better or something like that. But yeah, so but this has been really useful. Now if you come over here, okay, we're going to walk through this area that's for the garden. What we had to do is set up an electric fence. You can see it right here. We got a bunch of T-posts and all the stuff that you need for an electric fence, and we sectioned off this area right here. Okay. Oh, by the way, Jenica went back inside, so she's gone now. So we sectioned off this whole area for our garden and for kind of like a little orchard back there, so that the cows can't get over here, and the chickens as well. They don't really seem too interested in coming over here. They never have since we put up the electric fence. Did you just get shocked? That'll teach you. So electric fences aren't 100% effective on chickens because their feathers insulate them, but those occasional times when like their feet touch it, or their head, you know, like their comb or whatever, it'll shock them, and it works pretty well. Occasionally some chickens come over here, but not very many. They all pretty much just hang out in that area over there. So, but with an electric fence, it's not all that expensive. I mean, it's a little bit pricey, but it's not like terribly expensive. You just get like a bunch of, there's different ways that you can do it. But what we did is we used T-posts, right? But you can use other types of posts as well. In fact, they make, there's these certain posts that they make that are specifically for electric fences. But we did T-posts. You buy these insulators right here, right? They're made out of plastic so that the wire doesn't touch the T-post. You buy the Energizer right here. This one is actually rated for like a 15-acre plot of land. So we obviously have more than enough for our land here. This I've measured this. You can buy like a little thing to measure it, and you're gonna get shocked again. Careful. If she backs up at all and that wire goes between her fur, it's like almost you can't touch the wire, stupid. That's the second time. Anyway, there's 6,000 volts that run through this. So that's enough for like any type of cattle that there is. In fact, I think 6,000 is enough for bison. So it works really well, except when animals are being dumb. Don't you do it. Okay, I hope you saw what your sister just did. That's gonna hurt if you do it. I've been shocked by this thing. It's not the worst at all. It's just kind of, well, shocking. It feels like electricity, but it's not like particularly painful. It's just like, it's not going to kill anybody. It's not going to kill any animals or anything like that, but it's really good at discouraging them from crossing it. Anyway, so yeah, we have this whole area back here, sectioned off by the electric fence. And then back here we have our trees. We bought 5 this year. 2 of them died. But the other 3 seem to be doing pretty well. This one right here, this is our peach tree. And as you can see, it's doing just fine. I didn't know if we'd have to like put welded wire around it, like a fence around it to protect it from deer, because my neighbors say that they've seen some deer here in town. But initially we didn't do it just to see what would happen. We took that risk and we haven't had any problems. So and then this one, I keep forgetting, I think this is the plum tree. Yeah, I think this is the plum tree. And then we had an apple and a pear. Those 2 died. And then all the way over here at the end, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Over here we have our fig tree. See? You guys recognize those leaves? We got a fig tree. And as we know from the scriptures, the fig tree represents Israel. So it's kind of cool to have this, and I can't wait till all 3 of these trees grow and we can start getting fruit from them. Next year, as long as we have the money, I want to go ahead and get another pear and apple tree. I want to have all these different types of trees. We may even do more. We're kind of a little bit out of room, but I think that we could probably squeeze a couple more in, maybe. So, what else? So if you live out in the country, you're gonna have more predators, obviously. Now we do already kind of have them here. Like I've seen, we've had some possums here on the property. Skunks. I think skunks will, I don't know, I'm pretty sure skunks would probably eat eggs. I don't know about chickens. But we've had possums, skunks, and that's pretty much it. I haven't seen any coyotes here in town, or well, last winter we had some hawks that, it was only like during that time of year. I talked to a person here in town. They're like, that usually doesn't happen. It's very rare around here. I guess it's only like when they're kind of running low on food that they'll come and attack your chickens. But we had 2 chickens die from hawks. But you know, they're relatively safe here. So I guess that's kind of one benefit to living here in town. We're not in the middle of town or anything. We we actually live kind of like on the outskirts of town, or like at the very edge. And that's how it is with, you know, the whole town. You go around the outskirts and it's a bunch of properties like this, most of them larger than mine. But yeah, just all around the outskirts of the town, there's a bunch of homesteads, ranches, you know, whatever. And then inside town, it's just like a typical, you know, just a little town. But we really enjoy it. I'm hoping that maybe someday we'll be able to get a larger property and get it outside of town, but this is just perfect for our needs. We don't need anything more than this. We're getting eggs. We can butcher or process, that's usually the term that you would use, process chickens if we need chicken meat. You can usually buy chicks for like, you know, between maybe on the very cheap side, $250, $275 to about $350 typically. There's different types of chickens. Some of them are strictly for eggs because they don't grow big enough to give you very much meat. Some are meat chickens and some are dual purpose. So, I mean, ultimately when it comes down to it, all chickens would be dual purpose, but if you're trying to use a chicken for what it's worth, then you would go by those guidelines. And they have like, you can go online and there's charts that you can look at and websites. Like you can go to like a hatchery website. There's this one that I always go to because they have like a complete catalog of like every breed of chicken. It's called like, I think it's called like McMurray hatchery, but you can look through every single type or every single breed of chicken and see what they're all good for. But I don't know if we're gonna, I'm sure at some point we're probably gonna process chickens again, because that chicken meat, when it's fresh, it is so good. It's like just saturated in flavor. And same thing with the eggs, the farm fresh eggs. They're a lot more tasty. You can tell the difference. Whenever we go to Costco, there's the cold section where you can get eggs, the freezer section, or the refrigerated area. And I guess Costco is starting to sell organic eggs. and they're brown eggs, and it's like I just have to laugh, you know, now being able to produce our own eggs is just kind of a joke. And we get all colors of eggs, all except white, but we get like pink eggs, brown eggs, tan eggs. We have some blue and green ones that we get. The blue and green, that comes from Americana chickens. I don't know if I see one right now, but it's kind of fun just like getting all the different types of breeds and just like getting those different colored eggs. It's kind of a stupid thing, but it's kind of fun too. I like doing it. There's one of our Americanas right there, that brown one. You can see her puffy cheeks, kinda. You see that? That's an Americana. She lays blue eggs, and then sometimes they lay green eggs. Like she only lays blue eggs, but there are some that will lay green eggs instead. But yeah, I've gotten to know a lot of the different breeds. This one right here, it's one of my favorites. That's a Wyandotte. They come in a couple different colors. There's also like a brown version of them, but she's called a silver laced Wyandotte. There's our goose. Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's pretty much it. Those are the basics. So I can't wait to get more cows. You know, at our height, we actually did have 5 cows, but we had to sell a couple of them because we needed money, and then we traded one of them, and we've had like, all together, we have had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've had 10 different cows. And oh, by the way, If you don't have a truck or you don't have a trailer, that's not necessarily a problem. We have our van over there, and you can pick up cows in a van. Not all cows. They usually have to be on the younger side, probably like under a month old, or under a year old, I mean. We pick up all of our bottle calves in the van, and it works just fine. You just put down like a tarp and a blanket, and that's it. We usually find them on Facebook. There's lots of different farm animal groups that you can connect with, and people are always posting animals, so it's usually not too hard to find bottle calves. I mean, there's like certain times during the year, but like generally speaking, you should at least be able to find one, or at least that's been my experience. Then we just bring them back here and then give them the bottle. We buy a milk replacer, which is a bag that'll last them until they're weaned, and they're usually about $80. But then you feed them for typically about 8 weeks, and then you wean them. Make sure that they get their protein through grain. There's calf starter, creep, which like starts them out low with protein, and then you work your way up to higher protein grain. But yeah, and then so say you buy one for like $50 and then $80 for milk starter, and then however much for grain. And then, you know, after about a year, or even like, you know, 7 months to a year or more, you can sell them. It depends on the type of cow, if it's a beef cow or dairy cow. But we got two Holstein calves, bought them for $50 each, and then we got the milk replacer and gave them a little bit of grain. And then when they were like probably 7 months old, we sold them for $600 each. Well, that included gas money. I think it was more like $500 each, but there was some guy that bought them, which I don't think that amount is too typical of dairy cows, but I guess we just like found the right buyer. But and then with the beef cows, it more depends on how big they are and the weight. But the point is that you can raise cows, and it's an investment. You'll make money off of them. You just have to put in the work, essentially. And so we'll probably do that with some of our cows, and then we may keep these two jerseys and try and get milk, and then at least like 2 of them we'll probably have for meat for ourselves and get them butchered. And I'm excited to try that. Oh, nice, you guys, right when I'm taking a video. There's our crabgrass hay I was pointing out earlier. And you buy this, you see how it's inside that metal square metal thing. That's like a feeder, and it's to keep the hay from falling outside and then the cows stepping on it and pooping on it, because after they do that, then they won't eat that hay. It's spoilage, basically. So you buy a feeder to kind of like keep it all in, and so you cut down on the spoilage. So we have that one that was left here by the guy that lived here before, but eventually we want to get a better one. He did have at the bottom here, along the bottom, there was wood to kind of like help keep the hay in better. But as we moved it around, it was pretty old, so the wood just kind of like broke off. But at some point we'll get a better one. Yeah. And then, you know, we have all this stuff set up so we can separate the cows if we need to. There's times when you need to do that. Like currently, we have to separate the calf from the other 2 while they're eating, because once the other 2 are done with their food, they'll just push her out of the way and eat hers. So there's times you have to separate them. Sometimes when you get bottle calves, you'll try and keep them separated, because if one gets sick, you don't want them to get the other one sick, but it's also easier to monitor their poop. If they're separated from each other, you can see if somebody has scours or whatever. So that would be another instance where we might separate them. So yeah, for anyone out there thinking about homesteading, I would probably recommend finding a place that's already set up, just because it's going to save you a lot of time and money. You know, well, not necessarily money. I guess that comes with the cost of the house, but it's a pain. Like, just putting in that electric fence was kind of a pain to do. It took a lot. We had to drive all those T-posts in and then run the wire around the whole place 3 times. And yeah, so if you can get a property that's already set up like we did, that's probably the most ideal situation. But if you have money and if you don't mind working, then I guess you can just buy some piece of land, and ideally land that has good grass already growing on it. You'd probably want to go check out the grass quality. And yeah, but no, I guess this guy, he's had cows here for a long time, and so the soil here is just like really fertile, and stuff grows here so easily. We have a lot of grass. It's really thick. So far, they haven't been able to keep up with it. At any point, no matter what cows we had at any given time, they've never been able to keep up with the grass. So once we get to the point where they're all adults, that's probably going to be well, yeah, it's definitely going to be a different story. We'll probably have to buy hay regularly. But for right now, we've done okay. In the area that they have for pasture, it's only about 1.5 acres. So the rest of it's for, you know, our house in the backyard. But this is only about 1.5 acres. So there's some people that, depending on the size of your property, you may need like a tractor either to kind of like haul things around, or, you know, dig, or if you're trying to like clear out an area. They have these like big things that you basically drag behind a tractor. It's called a brush hog or a bush hog. I've heard it both ways. And it's essentially just like an oversized lawnmower. It has like all these blades. You pull it behind a tractor and it'll clear an area for whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So you'll see that a lot when you're out in the country, tractors with brush hogs behind them. But no, we don't have to do that here. I have a ride mower. It's a Craftsman, and that is enough for this amount of land, because I'll actually come through here and mow the pasture. Like, I'll do 1/2 at a time, because if I don't, then the weeds kind of get out of control. So as long as you stay on top of mowing maybe just a couple times a season, then you'll have more grass than weeds. But yeah, you have to keep the weeds in check. And it's also not good for the grass to grow too long, or well, any of it to grow too long, because as the grass starts to seed at the top, there's bacteria and stuff like that can make the cows sick, or it can like give them pink eye and stuff like that. So it's also good to kind of keep the grass from growing too long. There is a bunch out there that I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but there are a bunch out there that have come to seed. But, like, you know, we're getting toward the end of the year, and the grass isn't really growing like it did during the summer or spring, so things are kind of dying down. And like I said, next month we'll get our large bales of hay and take care of these guys. Hi. You coming for some water? Oh, we also have another thing that you can get for cows, and that you probably should get, is I don't know if it's like this with every pasture, but it's probably never a bad idea to buy salt licks. We have 3 different types right there. We have that blue one, which is iodized cobalt. I think that's what it was called. And then the middle one is like a mineral block, and then the white one is just sodium. And that's another supplement that you would that you would give them. You know, and they'll just lick it at will. If they're not getting enough sodium or whatever else in their diet, then they'll come and lick the salt lick or whatever it is that you get them. And there's like different ones. There's like a sulfur one that's yellow. And outside of these three, I think I've even seen a couple other ones. So, you know, you can get with the diet, like a cow dietitian or whatever, and they can tell you what's lacking in your cow's diet. I don't know if I would ever do that because I'm not like a commercial operation here. We're just doing this mostly for ourselves. I don't know if I'll go that in depth with it. But if like things kind of get out of hand, maybe I will. There's like certain things that you have to look out for. And I haven't really, I'm not really too good with this yet. I'll have to study it some more, but like there's things that you can tell by the, you know, the texture and firmness and stuff of their poop. And not that you have to touch it, you just like look at it and you can tell how hard it is. So you can look at that. Another thing, there's a danger called pasture bloat, where if they're eating a lot of legumes, there's several different types. I can't remember what they are, but it's like different types of clover. If they're eating too much of that, then the gas inside their stomach will be more than what they can handle, and they'll start to like bloat up. And I saw one video where the lady, just like how you would tube feed a calf, which I've done before. You can look at my playlist, and I have that video on there. But the same way that you would tube feed a calf, you basically take a hose and you put it down their stomach, and then it relieves that pressure, which I hope I never have to do. My cows don't have pasture bloat. I don't think there's a whole lot of clover over here in my pasture, but that's something they have to look out for. Now, this guy, he actually does have grain belly, which is where, well, I had a friend that was explaining it to me, and basically he just needs more protein, and so we're working on doing that. So hopefully that'll fix it. So, but cow, you know, it sounds like a lot of stuff, but cows are actually easy. We started out with goats, but thinking, oh, well, we need to work our way up to cows. Like, that sounds really intense, but it's really not. And in fact, cows are easier than goats. Simply by virtue of the fact that goats are escape artists. So you really have to figure out their living area so that they don't escape. Hey, how about you go back in where you're supposed to be? Go. This chicken right here, this Wyandotte, she is always getting out. Always. Most of them don't really come over here. Occasionally some of them do, but she is a repeat offender. You can see those two right there. They're taking a dirt bath. It's to help with, like, you know, ticks, fleas, stuff like that. So anyway, we thought that, you know, doing goats first would be easier, but that's not true. Not true at all. And I don't plan on ever having goats or pigs. I think we're just gonna do chickens and cows, but you know, things could change, of course. So I wouldn't be afraid of cows. When we started, we didn't really know anything. We did whatever research we could on the internet, but we've connected with people here that know what they're doing, and we've learned a lot. It's not the hardest thing to do. You just have to make sure they have water, pasture, feed them grain, supplement with hay if you need to. And you'll probably need to in the winter, of course. Their shots, I mean, you obviously don't have to give them shots, but I sure wish we had with that one calf that died. She'd probably be alive right now if we had acted sooner. Whatever, you know, it's not that bad. Oh, he just tried to he's still too young, but he's been trying to mount her. He should be able to successfully do that early next year. That's typically the age when they can do it, which would be great, you know. Oh yeah, with meat cows, so if you have a bull, okay, well, first of all, between bulls and heifers, bulls grow faster, so I think that we're going to want to shoot for bulls in the future. The meat cow that we have right now, she's a heifer, so she's going to grow slower. But if that was a bull, what you do is you castrate them and turn them from a bull into a steer that has had his, you know, manhood taken away. That's called a steer, and you do that for a few different reasons. The primary reason is that it improves the meat, essentially, because it's more tender. There's more marbling, meaning that there's more fat, so it ends up being more flavorful and more tender. You would also do it just because it reduces their aggressiveness, so that's like a second reason. And then if you have like a large herd and if you're like breeding cows, then you would do it if you're doing selective breeding. So and there's a couple ways you can do it, and I'll show it to you once we get to that point. But you can, they have these like, I don't know what they're called. They're basically like castration bands that, it's like a tight rubber band, and you just put it on them, and then it falls off. And my friend that knows about these things, he said that you have to give them like a tetanus shot, because once it falls off, they can get what's it called? Well, whatever, they need a tetanus shot. Or you can do it when they're older. You can just you can cut it with a knife. And then I think I don't know if you like spray the area with like some kind of like disinfectant. I can't remember. Or maybe just a tetanus shot. I can't remember what he said. But I would probably just do the rubber band and give them a tetanus shot while they're young. Turn them into a steer. So anyway, that's probably enough. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what kind of homesteading we do, what we're trying to do, what's possible. I would encourage you, if you're not already here, think about moving to the Midwest. Save yourself a lot of money and just live a much better lifestyle out in the country or in a small town. The air really is fresher out here. There's less stress. It's a different pace of life. I wish everybody could do it, because it's really, I feel like it's really enriched my life. And it just feels really good knowing that, I mean, we can produce our own food. We can process chickens. We can process cows. We can get eggs. We can get fruit. Once they're big enough, we can get fruit from our fruit trees and vegetables from our garden. We have a stream over there. Unfortunately, it's not like a spring-fed stream, so it's not always full. But when there's enough moisture and enough rainfall, it fills up pretty nicely. So, you know, we could get water if there's like some crazy emergency situation. We could get water from over there. Yeah, it just feels really good to live this way. So if you have any other questions for me, just let me know. I'll include the answers in a future video. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave comments, and I'll talk to you guys later.